My name is Lumiel, and this is the Bloodborne Lorethrough, where we play through Bloodborne and uncover the lore as it's presented chronologically. This will be an intermission episode because we were about ready to go into the Cathedral Ward, or actually divert to the side that had just opened up after we finished Old Yharnam. But before we do that, I want to go into perform a chalice ritual and go into the underground Pthumeru labyrinth that we've recently learned about, that led to the discovery of the healing blood of the healing church founding, and the Byrgenwerth school is who discovered this blood. Or they called it the holy medium. They didn't specifically say blood, but we know that all of this led to a worship of blood. So before I do that, I wanted to buy a couple things from the Bath Messenger. The first is, well, actually, for this episode, we'll just purchase one. I've been using the saw cleaver the whole time. We have the saw spear. We have the Kirk hammer. We have the rifle spear. We have not gotten this yet, but I thought I'd go ahead and show another starting weapon that we could have used. And so I will play using the hunter axe. So forgive me if I'm a bit rusty, because I have been using the saw cleaver this whole playthrough. But I now wanted to go and do a chalice ritual using the Pthumeru Chalice that we looked at. It's the ritual chalice found in the Church of the Good Chalice. It's used in the ritual at the tomb altar in the Hunter's Dream to break the seal. So the old underground labyrinth that we're mentioning had been sealed away to keep people out. Let the chalice reveal the tomb of the gods, perhaps the great ones that we've heard about. Let blood be the hunter's nourishment, and let ye partake in communion. So let's do that. I also will say I'm not going to do a full playthrough of every chalice. They get pretty repetitive. I actually probably will play through them, but I'll probably just record the boss fights, or especially the unique boss fights. Even the bosses get reused through the chalices, and sometimes it's just with a different modifier, such as you get half health, or they are stronger. But so I will record essentially what I'll consider the interesting bits, especially the interesting lore bits in the chalice dungeons. So let's do this. And if you're unfamiliar, we can see on the left, it calls it the Pthumeru Chalice. The symbol with the 3 dashes leading down is showing you the depth down that we are. So this is the first depth of the Pthumeru Chalice, or Pthumeru dungeon. It requires 1,000 blood echoes to perform this ritual, we can see in the center, and it requires 2 instances of first level ritual blood, which we learned about. We discovered in the building that appeared to be a church of some sort in Old Yharnam, where the creatures were performing a ritual around a hanging, what looked to be another blood-starved beast. And we found this ritual blood that is a special blood that does not seem to congeal, for one thing. So, not a lot of to add to that, so let's just go ahead and do this. And we will conduct the ritual. Eventually you'll be able to add other modifiers to it if you want challenges or better or different rewards based on those challenges. So we'll just head into the first level of the Pthumeru Chalice. So we may now explore the dungeon. And again, it has been a while, so I may be rusty. It can be a little difficult to remember where to go with everything. Only these chalices are fixed. You will eventually be able to perform a ritual which will essentially take the building blocks of the dungeons and piece them together somewhat at random, so you could have unique instances. These that are performed typically are kind of set in stone, so you could follow a walkthrough. like I said, it's been a little while. They all start with the lamp where you come to. Come to first, sorry. And often have a door you have to enter before you get into the dungeon. Sometimes they will have a door off to the side before you can get in there. And again, this Pthumeru Chalice is the first time we've heard that word in our lore journey here. So it's funny because we just had that lamp. Now we have this one. Consider this the start of level 1, essentially. Of the first level Pthumeru Chalice. So let me put the monocular in. So we see what appear to be like essentially very large tombs, lots of wandering characters. We haven't seen these in the game yet. And then we have rats over here, so let's deal with them first since they are the closest. Okay, see, I was already expecting the speed of my saw spear, so I was a little surprised by the axe is slightly slower. So let's show the moveset for the axe. So one-handed, we've got our weak attack, our strong attack, our charged strong attack, and then we'll have our transformation attack. So while you're swinging, you transform it. So I did it wrong, but there. Alright, so while I have it extended, now here's our weak attack, which is an awesome attack because it's a huge, wide sweep that will clear out things in front of you. Here's our strong attack, which is a huge blunt smash on anything. And then the charge attack is really the closest thing that I'll call the easy mode with opening weapons. So that first swing will usually throw a character, and if you hit them twice, it's really damaging. So I want the torch out though so we can see things properly. And again, there's a guy up there and then several wandering around. So let's kind of give him some distance. But let's see what, if anything, he does. So he's throwing essentially Molotov cocktails at us. I will have to get used to this. This is considerably slower than the saw spear, which I wasn't used to the saw spear when I first started using it. Alright, so again, he's going to be throwing things at us. You'll notice from the sheen here that this is oil. So if he hit you while you were in there, it will really do some damage. And he decided to come down to say hi. And I noticed this item. Blood vials. Alright, so, okay, I was going to say I noticed the bridge, and a thing to watch out for is they like to use this in the Chalice dungeons. And just time it and take the gap. Watch out because he will try to knock you while you're going into that. But these are a danger for them as well, as you can see. So let's just run through. And those guys that were red that were just attacking, they get channeled by these bell ringing women. So we will deal with them and then deal with her as quick as we can, because when we get rid of her, they die. Anything she channeled. And the bell ringing woman typically drops quicksilver bullets, so I'm sure that's what's laying there. I didn't even see what I picked up there. So quicksilver bullets. More footsteps here. And so somebody is back behind the smoke, which, like I told you in a previous episode, anytime you see smoke, watch out because they're hiding something from you. And there's a big guy, so I was going to do kind of my speedy way to deal with this, but I'll just fight him the way we ought to, which is actually dealing with the smaller guys first, so they don't stun us during. So I'll show you the charge attack against him. See, that took down a huge chunk of his health, and then that'll take care of him. And we got some more ritual blood, but you'll notice that had a 2 afterwards. It was ritual blood level 2, which will be required for performing other rituals. So this giant lever you will need to find in every chalice dungeon, and somewhere a door is opened to the old labyrinth is opened. So to continue further down into the depths, you need to unlock each level. There really isn't a purpose to go down there, but I will, just to show you what would happen if you were hit by one of these and survived. You end up in this bloody pit of bodies. And you should see, I think, yeah, the instance of another enemy that we haven't seen before. Right there. He is this large cloaked figure that performs that which will suck you in towards him. And he's got this huge bag that he carries over his shoulders, so. And he likes to kick and punch and try to grab. And we got some more second level ritual blood. So we have 2 entrances here and no way to get back up there. So if you had been knocked off, you would have to find another way up. We can see through the monocular that there are rats down that way. So let's see what's over this way. And it's looking like it's leading back into the main great hall that we came into. So let's find out where Path 2 led to. And then these are smaller rats. Not these ones, but these up ahead. And we got ambush rats. So before I pick up anything, I'll just kind of deal with them. I might have been wrong. I thought they were smaller rats. Oh geez, quit jumping. Okay. So we have an item here, Molotov cocktail. Another blood pit. Some tomb mold. So let's look at that. It is another material used for chalice rituals. A mold that grows from rotten flesh and blood inside the old labyrinth. Matures to bear giant spores. So it is just the mold of rotten flesh and blood. More blood vials. And then this is an item on a body, so shining coins, quicksilver bullets, and quicksilver bullets. Okay, so now I didn't see any other path out, so we come back here and take path 1 again, leading back to the main entrance. And you may have seen it, you may not have, but when I dropped down from the first entrance and fought the rats, there was a ladder over here. And if we had not found that giant lever, this door would have been locked. And it would have had purple lights there. But because it's unlocked, the light color changes so you know that. And that's what you would consider the exit of a level looks like. At least the exit of the main level that leads into a boss fight right here. So Undead Giant likes to get a jump start. I want to back away so we can see him. So he's got candles on his back and two giant bladed hook hands. And wears a hood. I'm still not used to this weapon, and I haven't leveled it up any, so I'm going to start using the charge attack that I mentioned. Let's see how the saw cleaver that we've leveled up works against them. See, a little bit better. And we can also see he's bleeding from the serrated blades that we used. Okay, so that'll finish him off. And we got an Adept Blood Gemstone and a Bloodstone Shard. So an Adept Blood Gemstone is just another socketed gem that can go into your weapon. And so that is Depth 1 of the Pthumeru Chalice dungeon. Now we'll continue down. Actually, I would call it Stage 1 of Depth 1. Layer 2 now. And again, no doors off to the side. So then we'll go through here, and we will have a lantern to light, which just really keeps you from having to run back from the boss level or boss area if you died. I should look around a bit more since we're talking about lore, but what we need to take away is that these are labyrinths that have been discovered underground. So the people of Byrgenwerth discovered them in this state, meaning there was a society already of some sort that created these and built these. And so far we don't know much about them. So purple lights can't go through, it's locked by a device. There's a door there, which I believe we need to go through, so let's go the way. We don't know if we need to go through. Alright, that's a trap. We haven't seen those in the main game, but you will see them a lot in these dungeons. And now the trap wouldn't go off again. So, like I said, we haven't seen these guys really before, but this is what the common enemy in this area looks like. Okay, so we came through there, and it's just a big, open, empty hall, which really probably means that you can drop down from above. A nice ambush if I had been going slower. And here's a room. It's got some of these. You will notice, because of the kind of somewhat random way these were built, and I mean as far as actual game dev, not by the the characters in the lore, that there will be dead ends that don't make sense. There will be things, like I said, with the bowls of smoke that usually will obscure an enemy, don't always obscure an enemy. So the rules aren't necessarily rules in the Chalice dungeons. The guys that dropped down were those red enemies, which are being channeled by the bell-ringing woman. And he came from this way, so... Yep, we're getting warm. You can hear her? There she is. Alright, so... You don't want to spend forever dealing with the enemies that she is creating, because if you're dealing with them, she will keep creating enemies and you'll just kind of get stuck in a loop. Alright, big boy down there. I was just making sure there were no more channeling bell ringers. And I rushed through, so I want to see what else was out this way. Here's an item, blood vial, and here is the drop that I was talking about, that if I fell down there, that's that big open room we were in. So nowhere else to go, except through here. The door I just ran past is where we came from. And also these kind of help you know where you've been. It turns that color blue, just like the unlocked door. Alright, and now we have the big guy, which you'll become familiar with, that has a club and is not very well dressed. So, here's what he does. He rolls and he swings a club. Alright. He can be difficult and perturbing, so I didn't see what level of ritual blood that was, but it was more ritual blood. And so now we've unlocked that door that we saw at the beginning, which, as I mentioned before, leads back to the boss of this layer, layer 2 of the Pthumeru dungeon. So back through here, we came up a ladder right there and crossed over here. I think I just followed the red enemies that were being channeled by the bell-ringing woman. So I'm going this way to find out what else there is, even though we've unlocked the door. Anytime you're walking through a hallway or a entranceway, look out for a thing you can step on to set off a trap. That's what that was. And then there is another one of the snatcher enemies with the bag. Some more second level ritual blood. And some more second level ritual blood. We've got quite a bit of it now. Now we can head back to the start and through the door that should now be unlocked. I'll just drop down. That's the start of the level. That's funny, there was a trap that I just never hit because I went through I ran along the sides of the wall rather than through the center. So here's the door that unlocks, leads to the boss. If there are side doors, they often lead to treasure, kind of like that treasure chest I opened. It's almost always just more ritual materials to perform to get to lower depths. Sometimes it is a weapon that is a variation on a weapon that you already see, like the saw cleaver. But, for example, it could take different socketed gems. Alright, so here we have the Merciless Watchers, which you'll see look a little familiar. It's really just these guys that we saw, but 3 of them. And I've leveled up a lot, so they're not always this easy, but it is constantly just kind of using these barriers to keep them away from you, trying to get one by itself, swinging and rolling or parrying, like you saw me do. And you can just whack at them like that, but watch out because the others have the big clubs that will not only really hurt, they will knock you down. I guess he wants to go up here. So, with him dead, we should get the Pthumeru Chalice and Tempering Blood Gemstone. So that Pthumeru Chalice is what I was referring to, where I said you will get a chalice that allows you to perform, essentially create another version of this that's put together somewhat randomly. So it provides just a different challenge and potentially different loot and a few different enemies. I have no clue why I just did that. So we will return right where we were, but you'll see we have the Chamber of the Seals where we first came in. Layer 1 was the lamp almost right by that. Layer 1 heart is after the first boss, so 2, and then 2 heart is after the second boss. And we'll continue on to layer 3 now. And an elevator ride. No more doors. I can't remember who the boss for each layer is. I have a hunch who this one is, or what this one is, but I'm not sure. Another thing you'll sometimes see is through the doors, enemies like lined up against it, whacking away at it. That can be hit through the geometry of the game, so there's the door we need to unlock. There's the ladder we should have come down rather than me dropping. Oh, so here's a new enemy. I like these quite a bit. And then there's a guy shooting a cannon up there. So let's deal with him first so we can take our time and look at the enemy I said I like. Also, we have a bell ringer that we want to deal with. Listen for the bell and look for those red guys coming up out of the ground. So, that wasn't all of them. Is there another bell ringer then? There's another one of those guys. Oh. Oh, he's getting away because of them. Oh, I just got lucky. Alright. Well, here's the steps we ran up to get the bell ringing woman. And I wanted to deal with the guy who was firing the cannon at us. I don't see any more of the red guy, so let's go down here. We'll get hit, but that's okay. And there is one of those snatcher guys. It's like a giant centipede that glows and has a flower tip on its head. And is decently strong. Oh! And watch out for that. You can stay off to its side and mostly be safe. And it drops arcane haze. So, the arcane haze is another... You'll start to notice this trend. It's another material. The tiny smatterings of haze that are found in certain ritual materials. The additional right sinister bell makes the bell-ringing woman appear, and when she rings a sinister bell, hunters from other worlds will be beckoned as adversaries. That's referring a little bit to the invasion mechanic in this game. There's another one of these. Which, let's take a look, since now we have our monocular. You can see it's just like balls of flesh and skulls and hair. It's a pretty nasty creature. But they drop loot. That's their primary purpose. So. And then there's another one of these guys, and he should drop more arcane haze. I don't think that they really drop anything else. It's the flower tip that falls too, is what I like. So it's like that's the actual corpse of it, and the bug body is just some ephemeral bit that doesn't really matter. So there's nothing off that way. No door off to the side, no bridge leading up or anything. Let's collect the items here. Ritual blood. More ritual materials. Everything's ritual materials. Quicksilver bullets. And here's the path that we want to take. Poison knife. You can probably imagine, but it is the first time we've seen it, so let's take a look. The poison knife is a knife slathered in poison. This curved knife is as thin and sharp as a surgeon's blade, often used for self-defense by special doctors in the healing church. So it's interesting that the doctors of the healing church needed to have standard tools for self-defense. They say that hunters traditionally avoid the use of poison, likely because the poison is too slow to act in the heat of the hunt. And I can relate, I have not used that much in this game. Okay, so in this area, there's this other enemy unique to this. To the Chalice dungeons. Will attack if you, under certain instances, but otherwise is mostly a calm, haunting character. With prayer beads. And silent, not making a sound. Like she's trying to speak, but words won't come out, not even sounds. So I'm going to leave her alone. Can be made aggressive. Probably by using light attacks such as like firing your gun that won't kill the enemy but will let it know it's being attacked. I just love enemies like that. Like, what is it? What is it about? And it's rarely seen in the game, even in the Chalice dungeons. So this is not the way we want to go, but it is a way to go. So watch out for levers, for traps here. Blood vial. I didn't see any traps. Panels on the floor is what I'm referring to when I say the traps there. That's an interesting sound. Big open hall will always make you paranoid too. And here we got tomb mold again. The mold that forms on flesh and blood. It's rotting and there it is. Just long enough to make me drop my guard too. I like that. So we were in the center here, out there. This is just a big walkway that surrounds the area. Sometimes in these levels there will be people like manning cannons from up here. There can be doors that lead somewhere interesting, though I don't think that happens in this particular level. I'm just checking for any items whatsoever. But this is what I meant by the seemingly random design. It's not like you couldn't imagine this place being designed, but from a game perspective, this served no purpose. It didn't tell us anything about the lore, the story. There were no just even enemies to farm. There were no items to pick up. It was just that when they entered this slab that has that area, it should have this area too. So it had it even though it didn't have anything to jut out or branch off from it. Okay. And when you hear people occasionally complaining about the Chalice dungeons, really that's why. That a lot of it seems like a contorted mess. Sometimes it feels like a waste. I actually like them because the lore of everything stems from here, and you do kind of get the sense that it's this ancient thing that's been grown over that's grown over, and things live down here that we don't yet understand, because literally everything that we've come across so far and has been something we haven't seen before. And here's the lever to unlock the door at the start. You can look for little treasure chests all over too. I don't see any in here, but they're usually just things like blood vials or ritual materials. So let's do the run back now. And we will pick up an item I see we missed. More ritual materials. Thought I saw something over here. Probably just those candles. And here's where we came through. Here's the ladder that leads back up. And now it's unlocked. So, leading to the final boss is the first time we've seen a door that sets off to the side. We'll follow this path too and find out what is held here. This is where I said usually it will lead to essentially a treasure chest of some sort with often disappointing materials in it. But occasionally you'll get a weapon, which I think is kind of cool, even if it's just essentially a weapon we've seen before. Right now I like when there aren't branching paths and it's just this is the way. And I think this might be a pretty short one because a lot of times the treasure chests, Bolt Hunter's Mark, that's decent, are in these big rooms, but not in this case. 2 mold. Quicksilver bullets. Molotov. And I've surely missed a door somewhere. So, yeah, there it is. We've got another door, so again, watch out for panels that are trap triggers. I just wanted to see what this drop down leads to. We've probably been down there, I don't remember. And then we've got the other door leading through this way. And when you see these guys, you typically know you found the lever or the treasure in this area, so treasure chest. Cool looking treasure chest. Interesting sound. And all of that for the ritual blood, which we've seen dropping left and right. So. Alright, let's run back the way we came. There it is. And take on the boss. And if I remember, I think that may be it for this Chalice dungeon. So, the reason I'm spinning around looking for things, I am looking to see if there is anyone we can summon into this fight. Not that I think we need it, but because sometimes there will be in these nooks and corners, or in the main path leading down here. So, we are fighting the watchdog of the old gods, I believe. Of the old lords. So, he will charge up and then charge at you. And he will puke blood, kind of. His head is quite strong, and that blast can kill you. Watch out for his charging, too, though. Kind of try to take on his legs if you can, and you might stun him like that. And so he's puking out lava right now. And again, I'm quite leveled up, so that is not necessarily representative. So we got the Central Pthumeru Chalice, Fireblood Gemstone, and Bloodstone Shard. So the Central Pthumeru Chalice lets us go to the next level of... So we got the Pthumeru Chalice, the Root Chalice, and now the Central one. Here's where we were at, and it was 3 levels deep. This is what you would consider Area 2 or Depth 2. So the Root Chalices used to break the seals are said to change the labyrinth's form each time. Like I said, taking these preset areas and putting them together almost at random. The old labyrinth was carved out by the Pthumerians, superhuman beings that are said to have unlocked the wisdom of the eldritch truth. So when the people of Byrgenwerth came down here and discovered the holy medium, what they were really exploring, it seems, were labyrinths of a society created by these Pthumerians, which they said had unlocked the wisdom of eldritch truth, which sounds similar to the wording of what we see on the when we talk about insight. And same words there. So, all right. So that lantern leads us back to, it's the end of this level, and it leads us back to the Hunter's Dream. So that is where I'll end this episode, and I thank you for tuning in, and I will catch you in the next regular episode. All right.